Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Paul Brooker, and today I am joined by the wonderful Anna Rodgers. Our, shall I say, regular guest, weekly, bi-weekly?
Well, whenever things align for us, because sometimes things happen, don't they? And we
Yeah.
can't make it, but it's good to see you again.
Oh, it's wonderful to see you. So, what have you been up to since we last spoke?
Just the school has gone back, thank God. So had more free time. I think everyone can relate to that. Yeah, it's been good to have a bit of me time rather than mummy time 24/7. Not that I do love my kids, don't want you to think I don't. But it's good to have, yeah, just time again to yourself.
Yes,
You
I
went on
mean,
a
I
holiday, didn't you?
I did indeed. I went to almost southern France, and I can tell you now, I had the weather on my side. The kids were
Oh,
happy. I was happy. I had lots of French cheese, which was absolutely spectacular.
I bet.
Unfortunately, no French wine, but hey ho, that's the way it goes.
Boy, that's good. You
Yeah,
should be proud of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was just a wonderful break. I did actually detox from the internet. What totally.
Mhm.
I think I looked at my phone once in the morning, once in the evening, just to make sure the world was not on fire. And then I left it in the caravan while we went out and did our adventurous days. And I can tell
That's
you
so
now,
good.
digital detoxing is wonderful. Wonderful for the soul.
Did you sleep really well? Did you notice
Oh,
things
I did
like
sleep
that where
well.
you're like, I'm just falling asleep like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. But obviously, normally I'm doing the news and I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. So
That's so
it's,
early.
yes, yeah. Well,
Oh, wow.
we've got to get up, get the news done before everybody wakes up effectively. And then the wonderful Drew, she edits as fast as she possibly can. And yeah, but it's busy. It's very busy. Trust me, if I
Mm,
thought the news could be done in the evening, I would.
do it. Yeah. Yep.
So, but anyway, Anna, so last time we spoke, you had your diagnosis come back, and
Mhm.
I understand as we were talking off camera, you've started your treatment. How is that going?
Yeah. I mean, I just take two 100 milligram itraconazole in the morning and night. And then I've got some other quite basic supplements to go with that. I think it's early days. I don't think I'm going to see anything for a few months from what I've heard, because having this long history with being exposed to mold, I feel like it's really deep in my body. Um, so it's not going to be a quick fix, but I'm hoping soon I'll see some positivity. I'll know when my tongue starts to improve,
Your
because you can
tongue.
tell a lot. Well, I'm not going to show anyone, but it's covered in like candida, and I've had that for such a long time. And I may have said on the other call we did that I saw an iridologist when I was 18, looked at my eyes, looked at other things. They were telling me back then, oh, you're really not good for your age and you need to do this and you need to do that. But because I was that young, I didn't want to do all the things they mentioned because it was like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I ignored the same advice that I'm getting now for decades, you know.
Oh, do you know what? When we're young, we're invincible. We know best. We can't be stopped. And then, dare I say it, down the road, that lifestyle we lived way back when we were 19, 20 comes to pay a visit. It really does.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
me personally, I'll never forget when I lifted something that was well outside of what I was capable of lifting. I managed to lift it, but that was the very first time I put my back out. And I would say that was
Mhm.
late 20s. And I can tell you now, once you've done it once, good luck trying to lift things heavy
Oh,
again. So,
pain is the worst, isn't it? Like my heart goes out to people that suffer with constant pain because you just can't stop thinking about it, And sure, you can go down the painkiller road, but you can get addicted to them and it
like
doesn't
most
sort out the
drugs,
root cause.
that just covers up the symptoms, doesn't it? That's the problem.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Yep.
I mean, I know people, well, I know one person definitely. He pops painkillers because he needs an operation on his back and he doesn't want to take
Mm.
the time off work to go get it sorted. How we rationalize in our own heads practical, work related, whatever you want to call it, things instead of our health absolutely astounds me. And I'm not innocent in all this. I've done it. But how we don't put our health first, I don't know. It's a weird thing, isn't it, being a human being? Our bodies tell us
Yeah,
we need to do something
yeah.
about it, but we cover it up.
Mhm. Mhm. It's very common, I think. We take how we feel for granted. I mean, I know compared to some other people, I'm pretty good, even though I feel like I've suffered a lot, but other people have it way worse. And I just think, oh my God. So my whole, I guess, thing that I do is try and help people avoid things in the long run. And there's so much you can do, but it does take effort, take some research, because if you're not well at the age that we're at now and you keep going the way you are, the future's not good. And that's not fear mongering, that's a fact. You know, things do start to degrade, so to speak, and the body needs a lot of support, particularly with the environment that we're in now. It's never been as stressful in history before. And I don't necessarily mean the stresses that cavemen would have had, because that's running for your life and all of that, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it's the stresses of the EMF pollution. I mean, it's so bad. I
Yeah.
think it's one of the worst things that we're
Yeah.
facing.
I'm glad you brought that up actually, because I spoke to a wonderful gentleman the other week and he says like the amount of radiation that just comes off of computer monitors. Now, I would never have thought that was a thing. I mean, more specifically, it's blue light radiation. But when you
Yep,
think about the amount of devices we've got that work on Wi-Fi in some description, and because we can't see it, really, these companies should be insulating these products to stop so much of
absolutely.
it coming out,
Yep,
but they don't.
yep.
Because you can't see it, they don't protect us against it.
And this is when the lack of regulation is a problem because, yeah, people can develop these things with no safety measures in mind. I was speaking to a friend the other day. In fact, some studies have come out about the health effects of electric cars, and it's proven to be very bad. I mean, it makes sense. You're in a car with a huge battery that's giving off invisible kind of rays. And of course, it's like you're in a microwave. So now the evidence is out. They're very, very bad for you. But knowing what we know about the people who control the world, no wonder they're pushing it to electric vehicles, you know. And I hope next year to visit um, China. And I think that's going to not be very good on my health because everything's electric, everything's like a smart device. I feel like I'm going to need to wear like a tinfoil suit when I go there so that I can try and offset some of the harmful effects. I mean, even when I went to America a few weeks ago, oh, I felt not that great there because they have 5G. We don't really have it here in Costa Rica. Obviously, being surrounded by trees. I've obviously got Wi-Fi in my house, but I'm still fairly protected from it, unlike loads of other people in the world. So, yeah, some
Yeah.
people are very sensitive to it.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Anna. We're seeing it as well. Interviewed Mark Steele talking about the 5G weapon systems they're deploying all across the UK. It's it's scary stuff. We're at the point now where more and more military technology is being used in our day to day. And they do say the biggest technological advances come from military applications.
Yep,
They then
yep,
repurpose it. For example, microwaves. Now, I didn't know this. The front door on your microwave, it doesn't stop all the radiation. The
no.
the first 1 meter in front of your microwave is dangerous, like
Holy
beyond dangerous.
crap.
And I wasn't sure about this until I bought my own electromagnetic frequency reader. And they're dirt
Mhm.
cheap. Anyone can buy them on Amazon. There's nothing special you need. Oh my God. Standing in front of your microwave, and bearing in mind, a lot of these microwaves are about chest height. And please don't think that I'm badging every woman under the. But most women do the cooking. and most women use a
That's a good
microwave.
point. Yes, that's a really good point. And then if it's sort of chest height, could it be contributing to breast cancer, maybe?
And also,
Mm.
I didn't know this. You have to stop your microwave before you open that door. You have to. Because when you pop that door open and it's still on, the radiation comes out neat.
Oh, wow. That
Microwaves, eh?
really makes sense. I mean, I haven't used one in years, but I grew up eating microwave food, not every meal, but probably one a day, just whether something was reheated. And even to this day, my parents just think that a microwave is fine, and I've tried to educate them, but they just won't listen. Even though it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out the way that it heats up food is not natural anyway. It's really strange, you know. So that's my dog.
No, that's okay. It looks like your dog's had a very tough day and is
She
in need of that little
she is
sleep.
such a princess, such a princess. Um, but today I wanted to talk to you about the vagus nerve because it's a very unknown health topic, but it is really important for people to understand what it does and how it affects you when it's damaged or stressed out. I have personal experience from this, and one thing about being ill for so long is it allows you the opportunity to try and figure out what has caused certain issues.
I saw the shadow of I think your other half giving a
the
thumbs
kid
up.
the kids have Friday off, so they're home today. Um where was I? So as everyone who's listened to me over the years knows, I've had long term issues of health that, you know, I see it like an onion. You have to peel off layers to get to certain things. And I always wondered why I had so much trouble healing. Someone would take something that was suggested for me and it would work for them, but it wouldn't work for me. And I also knew, because of growing up, I was so unhappy that I literally cried every day as a kid. Um, and I'm not saying this for people to feel sorry for me, because I know there's probably people watching who've had way worse a childhood than me, but I had to piece things together. And when you cry so much and when you're so upset, you're really activating important parts of your physiology. So, for example, when you cry, your brain hurts, you get a headache, your chest can hurt, your stomach can hurt when you're really, really sobbing. And it's a form of massive amounts of stress on your nervous system. So, because I did that repeatedly, it damaged my body, it damaged my brain, damaged my adrenals. And from a young age, I knew that if something upset me, and a lot of things would easily upset me because, again, my nervous system wasn't strong, that the slightest thing would sort of irritate me and I would react really badly to it. Because in the cavemen days, you're supposed to respond to stress very well. You know, something is attacking you, you run, and then you get away from it, and then your nervous system is meant to calm you down. And that's not supposed to stay harming you for a long time. Animals, dogs, for example, if they're stressed, they'll shake it out and then it's gone. The harmful effects of that stress doesn't stay in them. Sure, if they were abused, like humans can be abused, then that's a different story. But they have this innate knowledge of, okay, I've just had a stressful event, I need to shake it out. We don't get taught that. And when you're growing up in a stressful family environment, you don't really have parents that say to you, okay, calm down, deep breathe. So for me, I was left to my devices and just, yeah, got more and more stressed. So the older I got, the more I realized that something wasn't right. I wasn't healing and recovering from things like other people. And in the last year, I started getting facial massages concentrating on here. And I'd always come out so relaxed in a much better mood, where I was like, what's that about? Why did she do that? And it was such a profound, like, healing thing that went on. What was that? And then it made me start learning into the vagus nerve, which travels down through your cranials all the way down your body into your digestive system. You actually have the pathways on both sides of the neck. And I'm not a scientist. I'm not the most brightest person in the world from stress, which does damage your brain and the way that you think. But the way I see it is over a long time of prolonged stress, or you can have a damaged nervous system by losing a loved one. You know, it's the most painful thing is when you're upset or you've lost someone, maybe even a pet, and it turns your nervous system into something that becomes fragile. And that means that you're not going to recover from things very well. It also affects your immune system, your liver, your digestive system, your heart. So no wonder the older people get, particularly men, if they've had a stressful life, their heart can become problematic, where you can start having heart palpitations and you think, what's that from? That is from stress. That's your body telling you something is not right there. And I know from my own experience, even in my mid-20s, I used to have a lot of desk jobs, like as a secretary, and I'd sit there and all of a sudden my heart would just flutter for no reason. I hadn't been walking, hadn't been running. I was literally sitting there. But because inside my nervous system was never calm. I was never really resting, even when I was asleep. It meant that my nervous system was on high alert all the time. And this is happening to more and more people, where they'll say, oh, I don't feel good the next day, even if I have a really long sleep. I'm always tired. Yes, that's tied to your adrenals, but the main root cause for a lot of people's health issues is this weakened vagus nerve. So last year, I started looking into this, and there's things you can do. You know, if your nervous system isn't too bad, yes, you could do breathing exercises and meditation that will help you to learn to relax. However, if you're someone like me, very, very sensitive, that stuff doesn't actually work. Just like all the herbs I took. And again, I love herbs, but for me, who was in such a severe state of fight or flight constantly, the herbs and most of the supplements I took wouldn't touch the sides, because a weakened vagus nerve causes everything to be inflamed. And once your body is inflamed, even digesting healthy food is difficult. And that's why, for me, taking the ashwagandha that a lot of other people would take, it did nothing. And over the years, I've been lucky to visit specialists. When I used to be a travel writer, I remember meeting this amazing doctor, and he did alternative medicine and was a normal doctor. And I explained my health challenges. And he said to me, if you don't sort out the trauma and the stress that's going on inside your body, you're never going to heal. And I didn't like hearing that, because that was quite scary. But now I understand what he means. If you don't sort out your nervous system, this will lead to disease and you'll end up with a number of things. But fortunately, I came across something last year that I still am in shock about it working, but it actually makes sense. So there are these things called vagus nerve stimulating devices, and there's research into them that shows that they work. So I came across something last year that looks a little bit crazy, like a taser. This is the Hulist Prime Verilief device, and what it is, it has two gel tips here that you place on your, I'm just going to take my earring out. You place on your vagus nerve, And this has different programs. I'm just going to turn it up.
Just a
I think
quick
it has
one.
5.
I've just got one quick question. It's not like the first time you use it, you're like, like,
Oh, so I've got it on a higher thing. If you turned it right up,
yeah,
yes. I mean, when I say it's like a taser, you probably literally could use it as one because, anywhere there's a muscle in your body, and if you've got the gel on the ends, it will conduct the electricity, but it's not really designed for that. Um, but this, I just can't believe what this has done for me. So what I would suggest is people can look at this on. I think you're going to share a link for it later, and
yeah,
it's not an MLM. I'm not selling it, but I said that you should share a link with people. So basically, it's a device that you use. For me, I used it about 2 or 3 times a day in the beginning. It wasn't for hours at a time. It was just for 5 minutes. You place it here. Can't see it, but inside I can feel the electrical current just kind of pulsing. And there's different settings. And if someone out there's watching and you suffer with panic attacks, there's a setting on this that if you're in the middle of a panic attack, you put it on that area and people say it stops. I don't suffer with panic attacks, but there's a few loads of testimonials on the website. But I still can't believe what this has done for me because it's hard to explain, but I'll try and explain it. When your nervous system is such a mess, it has a mind of its own where, as I said, if anything, even for me, being excited, or in the old days, if I did webinars like this, I would be so hyped up afterwards that it was stressful for me. I would feel like my heart is racing. I'd feel wired. It was not nice, and I kind of knew, shit, really, for me, things are not good because I'm stressed when I'm upset, and I'm also stressed when I'm too happy. Um, and now this, with just using it, the first 2 weeks I used it 5 minutes on each side in the morning. Sometimes I took it with me in the car if I was just sitting in traffic or parked somewhere waiting. I'd get it out and put it on here. And you feel your ear kind of feels the electrical current, and then you can feel it here. But within 2 weeks of using it, I mean, I've not had my nervous system go crazy for almost a year now. And I cannot believe it because this problem I had was with me for decades and decades. And, I'm resting properly now. I'm not perfectly healed. I've got other things to deal with. But to know that my digestive system is not as on fire as it used to be is just a big deal. I saw my nails start to finally grow because, as I said, the vagus nerve goes through your stomach. So a lot of people with gut issues have nervous system issues. So, I mean, I've made some content on Instagram about this, but I just can't believe it. And I think I said to you last time we were talking, I have a theory and I think it's a good one. You know how you hear of people who are going through cancer treatment and they might do everything right, where they eat the best food, they're taking the best supplements, they're really supporting their body. But guess what? They're not doing this. They're not doing anything about their vagus nerve, which could be the reason why they got cancer in the first place. Because when your body is working well, that means your cancer fighting mechanisms should also be working well. So obviously there's things that damage them, but the nervous system is key. And if anyone hasn't really heard about this topic before, have a look into it. You'll find it so fascinating. But I still can't believe that this has worked for me because I'm not used to things working. And this is why, because I was so fragile and so stressed that my body it had a mind of its own. And now, I mean, I've been in situations where normally in a restaurant, for example, if someone makes a lot of noise, it stresses me out. Like I literally have to go because it's too noisy. I can feel my heart rate go up. Um, we were out about 2 months ago. There was a football game on, and people were screaming when their team won or when they lost. And whilst I jumped at the noise, my nervous system was completely calm. And I've had a few things like that happen where I'm just like, I can't believe this. Even my husband's like, wow, because he's lived with me for so long and knows how fragile I've been. And I said, I'm not perfect yet. I've still got the mold. My adrenals are still very weak. But to know that now my body is not in that fight or flight mode 24/7, it's just like, yeah, it's surreal. So I just felt like I had to share that with people because I do think this is not talked about enough. Um, Normally, when you have something quite severely wrong with you, there's no quick fix out there. But for me to know that that little thing made such a difference in 2 weeks is just mind blowing. And now I hardly use it. You know, the old days, 6 months ago, I'd use it at least every night before bed. But now it's probably once or twice a week. So it has permanently altered my nervous system. It doesn't mean that if I never used it again, the old symptoms wouldn't creep back. But I simplify it as this: when you're so stressed, your nervous system here becomes very weak, like a weak muscle,
Yeah.
and the electrical stimulation gives it the strength because it's zapping it to become stronger. Um, but yeah, I can't speak more highly of that. And, you know, it's not cheap. It's $299. It's the best money I've ever spent, I would say. But there are probably other alternatives out there that you could use that'd be much cheaper. I like this because it's got the programs on it. Um, but there are facial toning devices that ladies use. So if I don't have the gel on now, but if I did, I could do it on my face and you'd see muscles lift. And some of those things you can get off Amazon or even Sheen. Not that I like that website, but you can get them for about $10. And if you don't have the funds to buy that, you could buy something much less expensive. And you just have to make sure that you have it on the right area. And you'll know because your ear will feel a little bit of the electricity. And the main point is here and on both sides. I would love it if people tried it and then, you know, came back and sort of commented under the video and said, yeah, it's just changed my life too.
Oh, Anna, uh, I'm just going to backtrack a little bit because I can tell you're
I know
passionate
I
about this
just talk too much,
because
don't I?
you just went for it. No, I don't want to interrupt
Sorry.
you because you're the person that has been on such a journey of your health, which
Mm.
now sounds like you're getting towards the end of, but you've been down every avenue in trying to fix yourself, is the only way I can describe
And
it.
wasted a lot of money,
Yeah.
tens of thousands of pounds.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
just gonna jump onto myself at the moment because this is something that started in the last year or two. This
Mhm.
nerve randomly tightens up, which is the same nerve, the vagus nerve. And I'm sitting here and you're saying things, and I'm like, do you know what? Yes, there are times when I'm stressed, and it
Mhm.
does flare up. I mean, it disappears after like a minute or two, but I'm like, what if I can diffuse that and it not happen again? Because it does. It pulls the side of my face downwards a little bit, which is quite
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, well, we talked about that, and I that's another show we can do. But when you suffer with a lot of stress, like you feel it in your shoulders. And I used to be a massage therapist, and I would wonder why. Why do some people have really, really tight muscles here? And I'm always tight. And I've now realized it's the stress that you carry it in your body. And someone that is always soft here, you can probably assume that that they're quite happy and they don't really suffer from
They don't
so
live
much
in the real
stress.
world, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because I've always wondered that, why am I always so tight there all the time? And yeah, if you're carrying it in your shoulders, then your posture's not going to be good. And yeah, I've still got so many problems, but I don't know, it's one step at a time. But one of the pieces of content I made not that long ago was I said, I feel like, there's so many women online with anti-aging stuff and use this cream and use this thing. And I was like, this is an anti-aging device because when you look at what stress does, it is affects everything. As I said, the heart, the blood, the immune system, the liver, it'll affect your skin. It makes you age sooner. And guess what? I've had grey hair since I was 21.
No,
Yep. Which
no.
is probably a combination of mineral deficiencies as well. But as I said, I cried all the time. And then because, let's face it, I had really bad daddy issues, I ended up with loads of really dysfunctional romantic relationships. So again, going back to the nervous system, you become wired to drama and you attract it. And that's what I did, from lack of self-worth, you end up with people that are matching your vibe. So again, I cried all throughout my childhood and then I cried all throughout like my 20s. The stress from that, just extraordinary amounts, which I did to myself. No one made me cry, and I realize that now. But yeah, when you're a little kid and that no one is teaching you how to express your emotions. And I was always told to be quiet and stop being so sensitive and stop being a drama queen. So I internalized all of that, which damaged my body. And I try not to be a victim anymore. I was very angry about my parents for so long. The thing that I am upset about is the effects of my health. That's the one thing that I have trouble forgiving them for because it's like, if only they'd have said this or if only they'd done that, I wouldn't have internalized so much stuff and directed so much hate at my body because it's been a tough, long road. But, you know, I guess I can say I turned my pain into a purpose to try and help other people. And I certainly try and help my own kids deal with their emotions better, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's what being a parent is about, isn't it? We're all there to try and help each other get through raising a child, and in this day and age, it's
Um,
harder than ever. I've got my
mhm,
10-year-old daughter hassling me for a mobile phone. I
mhm.
mean, I'm saying no. Half
Yeah.
of her year group have already got mobile phones, and the dramas that come with that as well. I mean, WhatsApp. Who would have thought WhatsApp can be the sole cause of so much drama? Secret
No.
groups, horrible messages. Oh, and
There are There is something called, I think it's called Life 360. A friend over here was telling me about it, where if you have a child with a phone, you add their number to it, and then it sends you. So if they're receiving threats or certain words that they're seeing or being sent, it will alert you to that. So might be worth checking out. But as someone with the night that we left England to come to Costa Rica, my husband bought my, at the time, 5-year-old, like an iPod thing, and she's been addicted ever since. So if you can try and avoid it somehow, I would
yeah,
say please do. Or just
yeah,
be very strict with it. Like I saw the video you did with the man about the mold in the glasses. It's really good.
yes,
But what he was saying was really interesting. Reward them. They have to do things to get
yeah,
time on it.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was
I
like,
mean,
I really like that.
I'm, I'm quite lucky in that, my son is not really addicted. He's just getting into it now, and he's almost 13. My daughter, I have to restrict because
Mm,
she enjoys doom scrolling on
yeah.
YouTube Shorts,
Hmm.
and I know when they've had too much because they are not my children afterwards. They're not my children. So I have to make a very big conscious effort to keep an eye on the time. Right, you've had an hour, you're done. And it is when they hit about the 2 or 3 hour mark, you can see a mental change inside them. And
Yeah.
it's scary. And every parent out there who's watching this now knows exactly what I'm talking about
Yep.
because there is a point where they have watched so much dribble that doesn't make sense because that is the only type of TV now that anybody wants to watch. No one wants to watch structured conversation anymore.
Yep.
And it's almost like, and because they're so impressionable, they become it. And them becoming it is a big problem because they don't behave. They want to just keep carrying on. They don't want to eat normal things. They want to eat whatever gives them the next high because
Yep.
the overstimulation is beyond belief with electronic devices. And
Yeah.
we
And
have to be so conscious of stopping it.
I obviously we didn't have mobile phones, but when I was young, I watched a lot of TV. I think it was just to switch off from what was going on at home. And I am still addicted to my screen. But the thing that I noticed and started looking into is the dopamine addiction and what that means. And we've all heard about it. And we know that screens are doing that. But when you're older, it robs you of feeling joy. And I've noticed that within myself. I find it really difficult to, there's things that make me happy, but just having a joyful nature is not really who I am. And I've always wondered that. And then I started looking into it. Oh, it's the dopamine. I've been addicted to dopamine hits for
Yeah.
such a long time that it's sort of worn out that part in my brain. So that's what worries me about the screen addiction. If it's happening when they're so young, what are they going to need to make them feel good when they're older? And that's, is there going to be research that the addiction on the screens leads to addiction in drugs or shopping or
Body
something, you know?
dysmorphia. That's a big one. I can't tell you the 20-year-old girls now that are having their lips pumped, faces pumped, everything pumped. And
At
I don't know.
20, God.
And what makes me more worried is that they're putting themselves in situations around other people who do it to make them feel good. It's like this desperation to be part of something rather than being happy inside yourself and going, I am enough. And we
Yeah,
don't say that
absolutely.
enough.
I know, it's so sad. And just, we may have said this before, but social media in China is very different to the social media the kids get in the Western countries.
Yeah.
They're being shown things that make them feel good about themselves and motivate them and are interesting and, increase their intelligence, whereas everything in our countries is just dumbing down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's teaching everybody to be the worst versions of themselves. That's
Yes,
that's one of the
such a
big
good
things to
point.
describe it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, well, Anna, we have been on for quite a while now, and I think we've talked about quite a few things. Where can everybody find you?
So my Instagram is where I usually am, and that's Aussie underscore detox underscore mom. Sorry, I spelt it MOM. It should be MUM, but just because I live over this side, I've used that. But yeah, that's where I share a lot of content about health stuff.
Brilliant. And as always, we'll put it down in the description below. So all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining us again, Anna. I look forward to seeing you next week and just covering a whole host of health topics and maybe tackling these problems in slightly different ways rather than let's give you some drugs.
Mm, absolutely. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Take care. God bless. Goodbye.